This is the story of a classic sniper who can kill his target several kilometers away, even with his eyes blindfolded. But this sniper used to be an ordinary math teacher earlier. He hated war and guns a lot, but one day something happened in his life that turned him from a decent teacher to a ruthless sniper. The story begins in a small village in Ukraine where we are shown a small house. A couple lives in this house who are living their life happily in Ukraine. The name of the man living in this house is Mykola, and his wife's name is Nastya. Nastya was a drawing artist and used to carve various statues from wood. Mykola is a teacher and teaches math to children in a nearby school. He teaches at the school. He's a very good teacher, and all the children are very happy with him, except one, whose name is Ivan. Ivan was a very ill-mannered boy. He used to trouble his teacher Mykola at school every day. Ivan belonged to a rich family, whereas Mykola was a poor man. Therefore, Ivan used to make fun of Mykola's looks and clothes. He wanted Mykola to get fed up with his rudeness and raise his hand on him. Then he would complain against him and get Mykola expelled from school. But Mykola was a very calm person. Mykola was not affected by his words, and he remained happy in his life. Mykola was not able to get news of the world due to the absence of any electronic equipment like TV, etc. in his house. One day, when Mykola was in his school, he heard news on TV that Russia had attacked Ukraine, in which many soldiers were killed, and Russia had captured many places in Ukraine. In the evening, when Mykola came home, he came to know that his wife was pregnant. He was very happy to know this because now Mykola was going to become a father. Both of them celebrated this happiness together. The next day, Mykola said bye to his wife and left on his bicycle to teach the children at school. But while he was on the way, he saw two soldiers standing with cigarettes lit and wearing a different uniform. That uniform was not at all that of Ukrainian soldiers, which made him feel a little strange. But Mykola thought that maybe the government had changed the uniform of the soldiers. That is why Mykola did not pay much attention to it and quickly reached his school. But when he came inside the school, he saw that the whole school was lying empty. Not even a single child came to school. Seeing this, he felt disturbed. Then he saw the news on TV, in which it was being told that Russian soldiers have entered Ukraine to capture it, and now he realized that the soldiers he had seen on the way were actually from Russia. Thinking this, he got worried about his wife because she was alone at home. He immediately sat on his bicycle and rushed toward his house. But now it was too late. When Mykola reached home, he saw that the two soldiers were beating his wife badly. Mykola tried to save her, but those soldiers started beating him too. He begged them, saying, "Please don't beat me. My wife is pregnant." But the soldiers didn't listen and kept beating both of them. After some time, one of the Russian soldiers searched Mykola's house. When he didn't find anything useful inside, he got angry, set the house on fire, and started to leave. Seeing her house burning, Nastya became furious. She picked up a stone and began hitting the Russian soldiers. Seeing this, one of the soldiers fired a shot, and Nastya died on the spot. The ground beneath Mykola's feet seemed to vanish as he watched his wife die before his eyes. He ran to her, took her in his arms, and began to cry bitterly. After a few hours, two Ukrainian soldiers arrived at the scene. Seeing Mykola's wife dead, they felt deep sorrow. They placed their hands on Mykola's shoulder and told him not to lose courage. After that, the two soldiers began digging a grave for Nastya. Once the grave was ready, they told Mykola to bury his wife there. After his wife's death, Mykola was completely broken. He was now all alone. Those Russian soldiers had not only killed his wife, but it also destroyed his life. They burned down his house and killed his unborn child. Now Mykola was burning with the fire of revenge. He had made up his mind to kill the Russian soldier who had shot his wife no matter what it took. The only way to take revenge was to join the Ukrainian army. That's why he requested those two soldiers, "Please take me with you. I want to join the Ukrainian army." The soldiers agreed and took Mykola to their military base in their vehicle. Before leaving, Mykola took a small wooden statue made by his wife, the one she had carved to protect him. When they reached the military base, their senior officer became angry after seeing Mykola. He refused to recruit him, suspecting that Mykola might be a spy. But when the senior officer received full information about Mykola from the two soldiers, Mykola told him everything, how the Russian soldiers had brutally killed his wife and unborn child and burned down his house. He said, "I have no reason left to live. I only want to free my country by killing those Russian soldiers." Hearing this, the senior officer was moved and agreed to recruit Mykola as a soldier. The next day, Mykola's training began. Since he was just an ordinary man, he faced many difficulties during training. He had studied math all his life and had no knowledge about guns. When all the soldiers were assembling their rifles, Mykola was very slow in comparison to them, and he assembled his rifle last. Seeing this, the officer felt that Mykola would never become a good soldier, but Mykola did not give up and focused on his training. One night during training, Mykola told his senior not to call him by his name and said his code name was Raven. When others heard this, everyone started laughing. The senior told him that code names are not earned easily and that a soldier must perform great feats for the country to deserve one. Mykola did not take this negatively and began working even harder. He practiced late into the night while the other soldiers slept. One day, the senior announced that they had a shortage of snipers and needed to increase their numbers to fight the Russians. He asked who wanted to become a sniper. Some soldiers stood up, and Mykola was among them because he also wanted to become a sniper. When the others saw Mykola volunteer, they laughed again. The senior told him that he was not ready to be a sniper yet, because he could not even assemble and disassemble the rifle properly. Mykola insisted that he could become a good sniper and only needed a chance to prove himself. To test him, the senior challenged Mykola to assemble the rifle in 20 seconds. To prove himself, Mykola blindfolded himself, disassembled the rifle, and then reassembled it. He completed the task in only 18 seconds. Everyone was surprised to see Mykola's speed and dexterity. Those who had laughed earlier now began to applaud him. The senior was also impressed by Mykola and included him in sniper training. During training, Mykola was given an old model rifle while the others received modern weapons. Mykola asked for a modern rifle, but the senior told him that he would have to prove himself to earn it. With no other option, Mykola accepted the old weapon and continued. The senior taught that no matter what situation a sniper faces, he must not move even an inch from his position and keep aiming at his target. To practice this, the senior fired shots near the trainees, and any sniper who moved from his spot was dismissed from training. When it was Mykola's turn, he did not move at all and kept his aim. In this way, he endured the test and passed the sniper training. In the next training, the snipers were shown their targets only once, and then their eyes were covered with a blindfold. During this exercise, they had to guess and shoot their target. Some of the other soldiers passed this test, but when Mykola's turn came, his aim missed slightly, and he failed, because the gun he had was very old, making it difficult to aim perfectly. However, everyone knew that if Mykola had been given a new gun, he would have hit the target accurately. The next training was even more difficult for the snipers because they had to shoot their targets in the light of flares, and that in the darkness of night. The senior released the flare, and everyone aimed, but no one managed to hit the target. Everyone else had already fired their bullets, but Mykola did not. He realized that it was impossible to aim directly in the light of the flare. So when the senior released another flare, instead of firing immediately, he estimated the distance of his target using the light from the flare. Using his knowledge of mathematics, he fired a perfect shot. Seeing this, the senior and the rest of the soldiers were astonished. No one had ever completed this task before. Only Mykola did. The senior was very impressed by Mykola and gave him his desired code name, Raven. Days passed like this, and Mykola continued training with all his heart and soul. Finally, the day arrived when the results of his training were to be announced. The colonel saluted Mykola and told him that he had passed the test. A few days later, the colonel came to Mykola again and told him to pack his things because they were going on a mission. There was news that some Russian soldiers had captured a checkpoint, and from here, the real story begins. Soon, McCullough's team reached the location and took their positions. Just when they were about to shoot the Russian soldiers, a vehicle was seen approaching the checkpoint. The colonel immediately ordered everyone not to fire. On the other side, the Russian soldiers stopped the vehicle and asked the people inside to come out. They checked their passports and searched the entire vehicle. When everything appeared fine, the soldiers allowed them to go, but kept their passports with them. When those people asked their passports back, the Russian soldiers beat them brutally. Seeing this, the colonel ordered his men to fire. In one swift moment, all the snipers took their shots and eliminated their targets. In this way, their first mission was successfully completed. After the mission, when everyone returned to the base, McCullough noticed that many of his comrades were missing. He grew worried and asked, "Where are the rest of my comrades?" He was told that the rest of the soldiers had been sent on another mission. The next day, McCullough received news that many of his comrades had been killed during the mission they were sent on. All of them were killed by a Russian sniper. The name of that sniper